Hey everyone, I'm Angie Miller. I'm so glad you joined us here for our Friday Facebook Live, our AFAA webinar, where it's all things group fitness. So again, I'm Angie. I am an NASM Master Instructor and an AFAA mentor. I also produce Angie's Tips, which are group fitness teaching tips, because really my goal is to take this global group fitness community and bring us all together. So today we're going to talk about reinvention. How to take you and reinvent you to be an even better version of you. And what better time than during a time of dramatic change in our society? So my guest today is Joella Hopkins. She is president of group fitness for EōS Fitness. So Joella, I'm going to turn it over to you and see if there's anything else you'd like to tell us about you.
Well, Ange, first of all, thank you so much for having me be a part of this. I'm super excited and I'm honored because I've been watching your tips for quite a while now. You are fantastic. So I wanted to start by saying thank you. And I'm really excited to be here. I am a vice president. I wish president, but I'm vice president at EōS Fitness. And yeah, so I'm excited to talk all things group fitness and staying relevant in the game.
Okay, well, you know, I just gave you a promotion on a live Facebook webinar, so I'm sure that you and your company are appreciative of that. So let's talk about reinvention, because you and I have had a lot of conversations about that this week, just our own personal stories of reinvention and ways that we have evolved in the group fitness space over the years, both of us coming from a place where we've been at this for decades. So it's not just about professional reinvention, it's about personal reinvention. And I think that reinvention starts with values and priorities. So I did an Angie's Tips recently right at the beginning of COVID, when I think that all of us, I don't know about you, but I thought it was just going to be a few weeks. And here we are a few months into the game, and all of us going, oh, wow, our lives are completely different. But not in lots of different ways, right? There's some real good positive things that have come from it. So in my Angie's Tips, I said, making the most of change and how to hit the reset button. And I talked about how to use unprecedented times, how to use times where unexpected things happen and to turn those into our favor. Basically a way of saying, how do you turn adversity into opportunity? And that's really been my goal. And so in that video, I talked about priorities. This is a perfect time to sit back and say, what are my priorities? Because I think for all of us, they've shifted dramatically. Everything that I thought was of utmost importance, that used to be at the top of my list, a lot of that's changed, right? And it has to do with me kind of getting back in touch with me and discovering what I value the most, my family, not being in traffic every day, being able to really scale back and simplify my life. And so what do you think about that whole priorities thing? What comes to your mind?
Well, I'm a little embarrassed to say, but hey, we're friends here. I feel like I'm friends with you already, just knowing you for this past week. And so I have to say I've been quite aware of being alone, if that makes sense. I've been so busy with work throughout my entire career, 30 years, and yes, we're aging ourselves here, but hey, we wear that proudly. It's a badge of honor. Yeah, right? So I feel like during this time, this downtime, I've realized that my self-identity has revolved around group fitness and all things fitness. And being by yourself for 2 months in a house with 3 dogs and a cat has really helped me come to the realization that I need to find other things that bring me joy as well as group fitness. Maybe I need to go on a date, Angie. Maybe I need to, find a hobby or something. But yeah, it has been a very eye-opening time for me as well. But it also made me realize that I fell in love with group fitness by just getting in there and throwing down and teaching classes and bonding with people. And sometimes along the way, we lose sight of why we got into this in the first place. And I think that's kind of what happened to me. And I've had some time to really think through that and what my priorities and purpose is now moving forward.
Joella, I love that you just said that, and I love that you shared vulnerability because it's kind of like you said, we haven't shared space for a long time, but yet we've shared this big global space of fitness. And I feel deeply connected to you on that level, just being able to be vulnerable and to understand that that is exactly, we realize our weaknesses and our positivity, so to speak. And so for me, I have been in a home with my husband and my daughter, who were both now asked to work from home, and my dog and my cat. So my house is full, but what wasn't full is I discovered my friend network wasn't full. So what I discovered was that so many of my friends are my friends that I know from like when I travel, and I like my NASM AFAA family, or when I teach at a convention, then I have this big network of friends, and I have friends from college and friends from high school, and I realized, where are my Charlotte friends? And I had to say, well, I've only been here for a short period of time, and so much of my time has been spent on the road or caring for family, but I realized I'm kind of lonely, in that space of I need to build my community on a local level and bring myself, be able to call a girlfriend who doesn't live 2,000 miles away and say, let's go have a glass of wine. So you realize that you have this big network, but it's more of a global network. It might not be your down home network. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I'm a homebody by nature, and everybody looks at me and they're like, "Oh, no, you're such an extrovert. You're such a people person." No, I'm really not. I am when I'm on stage teaching or doing a presentation, something like that, or even in work mode, but I'm a homebody. But I have realized that you need to let people in. And as I've gotten older, that is even more relevant now in my life, where I'm like, you're right. There's only a few people, and most of them are my work coworkers that are my friends that I could just call up and say, "Hey, let's go to the movies. Let's go." Do we go to the movies anymore, by the way? I don't know if we even do
I
that
think so. I don't think we can.
Maybe go, have dinner, hang out and have a glass of wine. But bottom line is, there is more to life. And this time alone has really made me realize I don't want to waste another minute. I really don't. I want to do things that maybe I've just kind of pushed to the side in the past.
Yeah, and that makes so much sense. And I think you do need to go out on that date because, I think you're pretty attractive, and there's a guy out there waiting for you. But yeah, we all have these missing spaces in our lives, and we go through and we sort of kid ourselves that they're not missing spaces until we have to recognize that they kind of are. And so, and for me, that was the friend. For you, that is the dating and adding people to your life. And for all of us, who travel and do a lot of that on the road, just realizing that our home, our foundation, we need to build up those blocks to be a little bit more secure. So, because it's going to be a while before we're all out there traveling again, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and you mentioned something else.
Week. Yeah, I started traveling for the first time last week.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't realize that brought me back to life, because for the first time, like you said, our social life has been amongst traveling and friends, that we work with, and being back in the gyms, it's reignited a spark in me again, because I didn't realize just how different it is staying home and not having that connection with the people. So that's been, at least that's made me really happy, in the last couple weeks again.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. And you mentioned something else that was super powerful. You said that you realized a lot of your identity was tied up in kind of being on the stage and leading other people. And I called my fitness director this week and I was asking her how she was doing. And she said, kind of similar to what you and I said. She said, I hit a little bit of a depression because so much of my identity has been tied up in being in front of groups of people. And she said, I took a walk and I walked for about an hour and a half and realized that I was huffing and puffing. And she said, and I thought to myself, what happened? What is it? Can you only work out in front of people? And we both laughed and said at the same time, yes. So much of what we do is inspiring other people, and that inspiration feeds back to our soul and this deep need within us to kind of make a great impact on other people in their lives, and that it inspires us. But there is that kind of missing space and that part of us that says, My identity can be somewhat tied to my space on the fitness floor, but it can't be too tied to it. Just like it can't be too tied to any one component of my life.
Yeah.
My pie, my life pie has to have more balance, right?
Yes. Yes.
The
Yes.
dating pie, the friendship pie, the pie where we get up in front of groups of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I found my joy comes from looking forward to the events where I did get to get up and speak, or I did get to get up and present, or even just get to go down the street and teach my class at the gym. That's what brought me joy. And during this, the quarantine over the last 2 months, we've been doing a lot of live streaming classes. And it's very different, I have to say. I miss that personal connection. I miss the high fives. I miss just seeing people's faces in person. But I have found joy, and this is going to sound silly because it just goes to what you just said, how much we get out of, maybe we get validation out of feeling like we're helping people or making a difference, or that people actually like us. I know that sounds as silly as it can sound, but when I get a little heart, on my live streaming, that makes my day, and that may sound stupid, but that's who we are as group fitness people. We still need that in our lives.
You know what? 100%. And I don't think that for most of us, it comes from a place of ego as much as it comes from this deep sense that we love that we can make an impact on other people. We love that movement can make people sweat, but it can make people laugh, and it can build these communities of loving friendships. We connect people together. We're like the ultimate connectors. We're like seamstresses, and we sew these seams that weave people together all over the place. And I love that. I love that about what we do, and I miss it deeply. So let's think about this whole reinvention thing, because as we sat home with ourselves, we all had a lot of time to do introspection. We all had a lot of time. And, for me, I mentioned in previous webinars, I moved a lot of my work into mental health. There was a high demand there, and I filled my time with that. And part of me kind of stepped back when this kept going on. And I stepped back, and about a month ago, I thought, I love what I do in mental health, but I'm missing a limb. I'm missing my fitness limb, and I'm missing that high that I get from connecting with people in a happy space and place. And what's going to happen if the gym's open and I don't get my classes back, or I only get one class back, or I can only have 5 people in a class? And so I really had to do some deep soul searching about my fitness side of me, my everyday fitness side, where I teach group fitness, where I'm not traveling, I'm not speaking, I'm just connecting with people in my community. And so in that video, one of the questions that I asked was, what do I excel at and enjoy most in my professional life? And I've gone over that question a lot, because what I do is kind of multifaceted in mental health and education and fitness. So where do I really want to spend my time when things open back up? And what's that going to look like? So what do I excel at most, and where do I want to spend my time moving forward? What have you kind of discovered about that?
Well, I'm going to say it's twofold. So I'm going to talk personally and professionally, and I'll share both ends of the spectrum there. Personally, over, the last, I would say 20 years, I worked for a company, and my identity revolved around being known for teaching specific types of classes. And when I actually retired from that a few years back, I was beyond lost. I didn't even know if group fitness was for me anymore, to be honest, because I loved that so much, and it was who I was, and I was so engulfed in the culture. And then I kind of floundered to find myself again. So personally, during this quarantine, I've kind of gone back to my roots, and I'm not talking about the roots in my hair here. I've gone back to those too, but I've gone back to my roots of where I started, and I've found my love and my passion for freestyle step again. As weird as that may be, I know, like woo woo, hashtag bring step back, and I'm absolutely loving it, because that's what I started with, and I'm finding that joy again there. Also professionally, we reach a different season in our lives. I'm 51 now, and I I was used to being on the stage. I was used to being the person that was chosen for these events and those events. And now I'm stepping into a different season in my life professionally where it can't be about me all the time. It has to be about my people, my instructors, my managers, and letting other people shine. I see this meme all the time, and I've posted it numerous times, and it speaks to my heart. And it says, I'm going to paraphrase, but something to the extent of, your light doesn't shine any dimmer when you allow other people's light to shine brightly. And that's where I'm in now. And that's the phase of my life and my journey in fitness that I'm in now. So
You
different
know what?
place.
And I love that. And that's why I think that you and I connected so well, because I love that story. And, a few years ago when I was first approached and they asked me to do Angie's Tips, I think that I was so excited. I'm not going to lie. I probably shed some emotional tears. It was years and years and decades of taking all of my passion and all of this life that I put into group fitness, and then wanting to pay it forward and cultivate a community of men and women who would love what I have learned and experienced, because I can't do it forever. And it's not up to me to teach forever. Well, I hope I teach forever, but anyway, I hope I'm like 70 with leg warmers on and up on this stage and getting my groove on. But it's more about taking what I've learned and paying it forward and sharing it with other people. And I got to do it at the university too. I taught a methods of teaching group fitness at the university. And I was completely smitten by the concept of taking young kids in they're not kids, but young college students in a kinesiology department and saying, get excited, because I don't care what you do. I don't care if you run a business or what you do. Group fitness is something you can do on the side, and you can affect so many people and make so many people happy. You can make their worst day turn into their best day. And so for me, that's been, for you, that's been kind of managing all these different people for this company. For me, it was speaking my voice through Angie's Tips and paying it forward and say, get on this bandwagon, because I want you to love this as much as me, and I want you to impact people all over the globe.
Absolutely. And you have made a difference. And I know I've made a difference. And that to me is a whole new kind of passion and a whole new kind of joy that we find. I believe very strongly that we are limiting ourselves with the younger generation now into group fitness. When I go on conferences, or I even look at the members taking classes, I'm not seeing the 20-year-olds. Like back in the day when we were 20, do you remember how exciting and what an honor it was to teach and be a group fitness instructor? It was like I would volunteer to sub any class, just give me my shot, Yes. And I want to bring that excitement and that joy to the younger people now, because holy camole, I've made a career out of it. You have, this has been the best career I could have ever asked for. Now we just got to get that out there to the younger people and get them to, have that excitement to get involved in the fitness business. So I think that's kind of what I'm thinking about as well.
I agree with you, because they're on Instagram and they're everywhere out there, but they're getting disconnected components of fitness. That's how I look at it. A 3-minute set of this, 3-minute set of this. But how about coming into an environment where you get to make lots of friends, and you get to laugh, and you get to tell stories, and you get to learn about people of all ages and all walks of life. And so I agree, let's get them in the fitness room. And that's what you can do as a director. That's what you can do as a vice president. You can kind of share this love and this passion and bring this light to people. And again, that's what I was hoping to do with Angie's Tips is I get giddy when I write those scripts, because I was like, oh yeah, I've got another thing I want to say. It's like my platform to be able to kind of just shine the light. Yeah. Make the way, lay out the red carpet for all the people who are going to get in there and do it even better than what I've ever even dreamed of doing it.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I was talking to Linda, who's one of my managers, and she had a very interesting conversation with her daughter. And it was fascinating to me. The young people, because of social media and the pressure out there to be quote unquote perfect, is what's causing some of the younger people not to want to come into a class because they don't want to look, for lack of a better word, stupid or uncoordinated. And they've got this picture perfect Instagram life, and
Yes.
they don't want to ruin that. So that to me is like, how do we get through that, so that we just make people feel like, you know what, just come in here, don't worry about what other people think, have fun. That's what we need to get back to.
I think I just need to show them some signs of how ridiculous I used to look when I had hair that was like 10 inches tall and stuff going on my behind. And that should be enough to inspire them to say you can look any way you want to look in the fitness room.
Right.
So
Do you
this whole
remember the days, real quick, do you remember the days? I just found an old picture of myself, and I kid you not, I'm embarrassed to even say it, but you had the little bra top, and then you
Yes.
had the what do you call it, biker shorts, but the thong over the biker shorts matched
Yes.
your bra top. You had scrunchy socks, and then you had like a scrunchie in your hair. It was like, it was so funny to see those pictures again. I hadn't looked at them forever, and it was like, it still makes me happy though. I love those pictures. I love those memories.
You might have been more spicy than me because I don't remember having an outfit like that, but I do remember the outfit. But I tell you what, I had a thong leotard that was like a skeleton, and it used to be like my total favorite one. I was always sporting my skeleton everywhere I went, and it
Yeah.
was over the little biker shorts, and then I had like the tight pantyhose things underneath, like the Lycra hose. I
Yeah.
don't know how I didn't go into like cardiac arrest from sweating myself to death. So
Exactly.
just like that was just way too
Uh,
much.
those were
So
the good
let's
old days.
so you and I know that we've had to reinvent ourselves time and time again. I mean, I've talked before, we've moved 6 times, and I'm not even sure that's accurate. It might have been 7. I think I've chosen not to count. But we've moved 6 times. I've had to start at different gyms, and every gym has a different dynamic. It has a different director, different expectations. Some gyms use branded programming, some gyms don't. I keep having to reinvent myself. And as a fitness professional, but also out in the professional world, like where am I going to spend most of my time in my space, right? Academia, mental health, how am I going to divide my time and still do what I love on the fitness floor? So reinvention is kind of the name of the game. I live in a world of being uncomfortable. I live in a world of feeling like I'm never completely 100% grounded. And I like that. I like that I'm never too comfortable. I like the level of humility that I constantly experience. I like that ego is never going to get in my way because I'm always so busy trying to stay at the top of my game. So in that Angie's Tips video, I said, what do I excel at most in my professional career? And I also said, think about some things that sustain you versus some things that drain you. And I think that as we go back, we really kind of have to think about what is this going to look like? Like what really brings me energy and lights my fire, and what really zaps me? Like, I hope I never have to commute again, but yet I know I do.
Yeah, exactly.
But all of this that we've learned that we don't miss, the commuting, the rat race, not having to teach 10 classes, what are some other things to think about as far as kind of reinvention, or what do you think about that?
I think there's a couple things that come to mind right away. Would be number one, I don't want to feel pain anymore when I
Yes.
teach. I don't want to teach the classes that, I'm trying to prove that I can do it still. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Yes.
I can still do it, but holy crap, the next day I can't walk. Okay. And I don't want to feel that. I've had an Achilles transplant, 3 knee surgeries, and now I want to find movement that feels good to my body going into the next season. So with that, I've changed up, my workouts, and I'm making sure that I'm not doing things that cause me pain. And then number two, I also realize coming from, many, many years in this business that it is the year 2020. And there are certain things that we're going to have to accept if we're going to stay relevant in the fitness business, social media, some live streaming, different things that we haven't done in the past. And we have to be open to that. So those are the two things that I'm thinking really through.
I love that. And that's absolutely right. I too have discovered, when I go back, I want to be really careful what I teach, which I feel like I've been very careful about that since I moved to Charlotte a couple years ago, is just being real careful about the classes that I selected. Even though I say hashtag bring step back, I'm not going to lie, step kind of kills me a little bit. So, and my running days, they're limited after I tore my meniscus. And I've discovered that walking is my new mojo. And just slowing down in general has made me feel so good. The other night, I took the longest walk, and I put it on Instagram that I was super proud of myself because I realized that I know the words to every Creedence Clearwater Revival song. And so that totally ages me. But there's a different way to get fit, and it doesn't have to be killing myself. And I know that the members are going to come back that way too.
Absolutely.
And then you talked about what's going to look different when we come back and how that reinvention is going to look different. And I know that some of our AFAA community, some of them might teach in a church basement, some of them might teach in a local park, some of them teach for big clubs, but we know one thing to be true. We don't know what change is going to look like. We just know it's not going to look the same. So when we come back, I'm pretty certain that everything's going to be different. I've had some directors tell me that their instructors are going to have to teach from this stage, and they're absolutely not allowed to leave the stage. Yeah. Well, I'm a big girl who tries. I love to get in there and get up next to Joella when she's taking my class. And I'm like, wait, what? I can't get off the stage. And then other ones have talked about how there's going to be plexiglass. So we're going to teach behind plexiglass. There's going to be all kinds of, and we don't know what that's going to look like, but we do know that we're going to have to be very adaptable. We're going to have those springs on our feet and know that we not only have to be adaptable, but we have to really be willing to reinvent who we are, and our perception of fitness has to change, right? And what group fitness looks like.
100%. And it's funny you're saying this because the plexiglass we're putting on our cardio equipment for some people, which is nice, but we haven't thought about that for group fitness. I hope we don't have to come to that, but I understand why people might feel that they need to. We just recently opened up group fitness classes in our gyms in Arizona and Utah, Nevada next week. And some of the things that we're doing, and again, we don't have all the answers. So, I'm open to feedback, and I'd like to just give suggestions so that maybe other people can get some ideas when they start, classes again. We're doing things like obviously limiting capacity. We're putting down little decals on the floor so that everybody knows where they're supposed to stand with 6 to 7 feet measured out between them. And yes, unfortunately, there can't be the moving off the stage and the corrective technique or the high fives right now. I call it GFIT phase 1, not GFIT phase forever. So that's making people realize, that it's a privilege right now in our industry to be able to offer classes again. So we do need to try to, set these procedures, because there's many members and instructors that are afraid right now to come back because it is the unknown. So anything that we can do to make them feel more comfortable. I'll give you one little tip that I think would be great for instructors out there everywhere. The cool down portion of our class now. So we don't just end class and say clean up. We say now the cool down part, everybody, including the instructor and all the members, clean everything that they touched as part of the cool down. And then we stop the class. So that way we ensure that everything that got touched gets cleaned the right way. So little things like that are going to make a dramatic difference to people.
You know what? I love that. And it is about accountability. And at the end of the day, as a society, as humanity, we do need to be accountable to one another. And if you kind of hold them to the fire and say that they have to clean up before they actually do a cool down, you can even do a meditation at the end. I think that it's good. We need to all be held accountable. We're all busy and everybody's got someplace to be. But guess what? We need to clean for the next person, because it's all about keeping one another safe. It's all about recognizing that we're in this space together, and we want to know that we're safe in class, so we need to make it safe for the next person. And so that's the thing, we don't know what the new way is going to be. right? Like you said, but we do know that the old way is not going to be the same way moving forward. And maybe someday it will go back to that, but I think it will be forever changed. And that's what reinvention is. And that's why adaptability is so pivotal. And, you know, one of the things that I talked about with my director the other night was think about your five senses and then take away your sense of touch. And I think that that's what you and I were kind of saying at the beginning, that sense of touch and connection with other humans, and the sense of touch and connection with my girlfriends, with you, with dating, whatever it might be. Just, but here we are. We're going to get up on this. I'm on this dating thing. Doggone it. You know how women are. We like to set each other up. So anyway, so this whole sense of touch that I can't touch people. You know, I went to shake a neighbor's hand recently, and my daughter gave me the most scornful look that I was like almost deeply ashamed. And I was like, I forgot. It was a moment. And I was like, you took away one of my senses and one of my most the person that I am. I always want to hug everybody, and I want to connect with you, and I want you to get that hug that you need every day. And I try not to get in people's personal space, but I'm like, I not only can hug you, but I can't shake your hand, and now I can't even come off the stage and get close to you. So one thing that I thought about with reinvention is, if you keep that in mind, how do I connect with people if you take away that sense? So Joella, how do I make you feel connected to me when I can't touch you, I can't get close to you? Because I think that's huge in the reinvention process. When we get up there and we get that mic on again, how do I connect to you?
Yeah, you know, I'm a big fan of the face.
Yeah.
To me, the face says everything, and particularly the eyes. You can smile with your eyes, you know, and making eye contact, putting a smile on your face, it's everything. And just with our words, by saying things like, gosh, I've really missed you guys. I can't wait that, you know, to get this class rocking and we're back together. I'm so grateful, you know, to have you back in my life. Words, eyes, and smile. To me, that's going to be the connection factor, at least for each one.
Yes. And you know, it's not good for wrinkles, but I've always smiled with my eyes.
Yeah, exactly. As I sit here and have these glasses on my face right now.
Yes, my face says it all. And so, you know, the smile is a huge one. And it's funny, back in the day when I used to produce fitness videos, I had a gentleman years ago write me a scathing letter about how I smiled in my entire fitness video. And that's just not realistic. People don't smile when they're exercising. And I was like, yes, they do. Because I do. I smile when I'm teaching, and I make myself laugh because, of course, I think I'm hilarious when I'm teaching, because a microphone gives us this false sense of courage. But yes, I think that smiling, and I think that our words are going to be really powerful. I think when I get back, I'm going to say to them, guess what? I'm nervous. I think I'm nervous. It's like I'm a new teacher again. But it's the same nervousness that I felt all 6 of our moves. The first time I put on a microphone in a new gym, I am so nervous. I feel like I'm almost going to have like a visceral, like throw up reaction, because these are new people and they have new expectations. And I might have been Angie, who is Angie somebody to somebody else, but I'm nobody to these people.
It's so humbling, isn't it?
It is so humbling.
So humbling. Yes.
But I love it because, again, humility is where I live. I love that I mean something to somebody, but I mean nothing to somebody else. And so we're only relevant until we're not.
Oh my God, that is so true. Say that again. You were what? We're
only relevant until we're not.
I love that. That says a lot right there. Wow.
Yeah, it really does. So you and I have shared some stories of reinvention, and that was definitely one of the things that you know, you shared working for that big company where you were known for those certain brands and those certain styles of teaching, and I've moved around, and we've both been through this journey of reinvention over and over and over again. And I would have to say, you know, to sum it all up, I'd have to say that it's about courage.
It is. It is absolutely about courage. It is scary starting over. Let's just all, you know, be honest about that. Nobody, well, maybe some people, but most people stress a little bit over change. especially when you're comfortable. You feel like you've established something and you've made a name for yourself. And then you have to pretty much go down to the bottom level and climb your way back up and start over. And that is very humbling and it is very scary. And I think it's also builds our character and it tells us who we really are and why we're in this, because it can't be about us. And we have to realize that, you know what? It's okay to start over. It's okay to be a nobody and start over just like everybody else has to. Like, I don't know, maybe sometimes we get, and I've been in this position myself where I got too comfortable, if that makes sense, you know, and I've coasted. And then it's a big eye-opening reality when you are like, oh, wait a minute, nobody knows me. Nobody knows me. Yeah. So we talked about that this week, which was very, I think both of us have been through that.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, and I think that that's why we've gone to an age and a stage and a place in our lives where humility is our friend. And so it's not just about courage, it's about humility. It's about realizing, you know, I did an AFAA video and I don't even remember which one it was, but one of the things that I said was, remember that just because you have a big class doesn't mean you're the most important person. It just means that you're important to the people that you're teaching to, or something to that effect. Yeah. You know, it doesn't mean you're the best instructor. Maybe that's what it was. It doesn't mean you're the best instructor. It means that you're doing the best in that moment. And that's all any of us can ask for, because none of us are the best instructor. And we might be the best for the people that we connect with, but there's over 7 billion people on the planet. So I hope that the people who tuned into us today I hope we gave them an extra dose of courage, an extra dose of humility, and an extra kind of pump that says it's okay to reinvent yourself. It's okay to move forward differently. And it's okay to do some deep introspection and ask yourself, you know, who am I? What's working for me? What's not working for me? How do I want to move forward differently? How do I want to feel when I walk into that gym or when I walk into anywhere? And what do I value most in my life? What do I want to spend the most amount of time on? And one question that I'll leave everyone with, just to kind of sit with, is a lot of times I'll say to people, where do you see your life a year from now? What would you most like your life to look like? You know, what kind of people would you like to be in it? Professionally, personally, where do you see yourself a year from now? And then ask yourself, where are you spending the majority of your time right now? So how much of your time are you spending getting toward wherever it is that you see yourself a year from now? Because it's not going to land on your doorstep. Reinvention is about looking toward the future and saying, where do I see myself? And if this is this is the journey that I want to create, then I have to start massaging it a little by little, day by day, hour by hour.
Yeah. You know, it's goes right along with what kind of person do you want to be? And who are the people that you surround yourself with? Because the people that you surround yourself with are the people that should be the type of person that you want to be. So same type of thing. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we definitely become our community of people, right? Don't they say married couples start to look alike? And I've been married for like 28 years. And gosh,
you look like your dog too. Like not you, but they say you start to look like your dog. And I'm like, which dog do I look like of my three?
I don't know if I want to look like my dog or my husband. And I'm pretty sure they don't want to look like me either. So I hope that, you know, I don't know if we have any questions, but if we don't, I do hope that we left our viewers with a sense of empowerment. We left everybody with a sense of, hey, reinvention is a really cool thing. And it's really powerful to take the courage and the humility to say, you know what, I'm not sure where I'm going yet, but I know kind of where I want to be and I know how to create that. And it's about positive control, right? So I don't know what the gym's going to look like when I get back, but where I do have positive control is what I can create for me, right? And my world. And you on your date that I'm not going to let go of, and then making some girlfriends that I can go have a glass of wine with, because I can't fly to California to have a glass of wine with you, Joella.
I know, I wish you could. I wish you were right next door and we could do it tonight.
Yeah. Well, thanks to all of our AFAA community, all of this global group fitness community. Thanks, Joella, for being the person that you are. Thanks all of you for joining us. I hope to see you next Friday, and I hope everybody has an amazing weekend. Take good care, stay safe, stay healthy.
Yeah.